All right, let's be real for a second.
Okay.
Who doesn't love those incredible sports moments? You know, the buzzer beaters, the walk-off home runs, the ones that just leave you speechless?
They're electric.
Totally. But, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
They make it look so easy, like it just happens.
Right.
But for today's deep dive, we're really going to unpack that.
Okay.
Because it's rarely as effortless as it seems.
It really isn't. Yeah.
So we're diving into this article.
Okay.
It's called The Power of Process: Why Elite Athletes Should Share Their Journey Beyond Game Day.
I like it.
And it makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about what goes on behind those highlight reels.
I think a lot of people would be surprised.
For sure. Because, let's face it, those big game moments, those are just the tip of the iceberg.
They are. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, you see the victory, the celebration, but...
There's so much more there.
Exactly, and that's what this article calls the unseen grind.
The unseen grind. I like that.
Right. All the hours, the sweat, the sheer willpower it takes to reach that level.
It's intense.
It really is. They even use the phrase blood, sweat, and tears in here.
Well, you know it's got to be serious when they bring out that phrase, right?
Right.
It might sound a little dramatic.
A little.
Okay, maybe a lot dramatic.
Ted.
But I think it gets the point across.
It really does. And you know, what I think is so interesting about all of this is that,
What's that?
well, we may not all be elite athletes, sir.
True. Sure.
But we understand hard work.
Absolutely.
We get what it means to put in the time and the effort to chase a goal.
It's universal, that drive.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I was thinking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I think especially for younger fans, when they can see that human side of their idols,
Oh, totally.
it makes them relatable.
It does. Because no one can really relate to being superhuman,
Right?
but they can relate to the hard work.
Right. Seeing those struggles, the setbacks.
Yeah, that's what makes them human.
Yes. And it made me wonder, in a world dominated by social media, where everything is so polished, so picture perfect.
Right, curated.
Exactly. Could it be that a little bit of realness,
Okay.
a little bit of authenticity is actually the key to making a deeper connection?
That's a really good question.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
It just makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's like, are we missing out on that genuine connection by trying to be so perfect all the time?
It's definitely something to think about. And this article really dives into that.
Because it's arguing that it's not just about the wins and the trophies, right?
No, not at all. They're
Yeah.
saying it's the journey, the behind-the-scenes stuff, the process itself that people really connect with.
That makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
It does. Because think about it this way. Their journey, with all the ups and downs.
And I bet there are a lot of downs people don't see.
Oh, I'm sure. But that's the part that makes them relatable, athlete or not.
That's so true. Instead of just look how great I am, it's here's what it really takes.
Exactly. And the
Yep.
work, the sacrifices, even those setbacks,
Mm.
it just makes them seem human.
Right. Like they're just like us.
Exactly. And, you know, there's this whole psychological thing.
What's that?
Well, when athletes allow themselves to be relatable like that, it actually changes the way fans are inspired by them.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it's less about idolizing from afar
Okay.
and more about connecting on a human level. Like, hey, they face challenges too.
Right. Those everyday struggles we can all relate to.
Precisely. The doubts, the fatigue, the times they just want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that makes them real.
It's about that authenticity we were talking about.
Exactly. And you know, what really struck me in the article, they mentioned how some fans were totally caught off guard
Oh, by what?
when athletes started sharing their actual routines and habits.
Really? Like what kind of stuff?
Everything. Their sleep schedules, their weird little rituals.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
And get this, some fans actually started incorporating those things into their own lives.
Wow. Talk about influence.
Right. Just goes to show you the power of being open and sharing your process.
That is pretty powerful. And on that note, they actually gave some really specific examples of what athletes can share.
Oh, like what?
Well, get this, sleep.
Sleep. Like, what's so special about that?
Well, for these athletes, it's not just about logging 8 hours. It's a whole thing.
You're carrying, like what?
We're talking blackout curtains, meditation apps, the works.
Wow, they take it seriously.
They're looking for any edge they can get, you know?
Yeah.
Recovery is just as important as the workout itself.
Makes sense.
Right. And speaking of recovery, they even talked about ice baths.
Ice baths? Oof, no thanks. I'm good.
I know, right? Sounds brutal. But it's interesting how it shows the science behind it all.
Yeah.
It's not just about pushing through pain. It's about taking care of your body, prioritizing recovery.
It's a long game.
Exactly. And we can't forget about food.
Oh, of course. Fueling up is key.
Right. But they went beyond the typical eat your vegetables advice.
Did they ever?
They actually talked about athletes sharing meal prep tips, healthy
And
recipes.
let's not forget those cheat days.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have those cheat days.
Everyone deserves a treat every now and then, right?
Exactly. Even elite athletes.
I guess I'm relatable.
So relatable,
Right.
which I think is so important.
It really is. It's not just about physical strength and skill, right?
Right. Like, you can't be an elite athlete without that mental toughness, too.
Exactly. And the article actually talks about this too, how athletes can share their mental prep techniques with fans.
Oh, really? Like, what kind of stuff?
All sorts of things. Visualization, how they set goals. Some even work with sports psychologists.
Fascinating. I never thought about that.
Right. It's about demystifying that mental side of it, showing that it's not just about talent.
It's about mindset.
Exactly. And you know what? That's something we all struggle with.
Oh, 100%. Who hasn't had moments of self-doubt?
Right. And I think for fans, to see how these top performers deal with those same emotions,
Yeah.
that could be incredibly empowering.
It's like, hey, if they can overcome those hurdles, maybe I can too.
Right. It makes them seem more relatable, more human.
And it gives you a different perspective on what it takes to succeed.
Absolutely. And it's not just about overcoming the negative, it's also about harnessing those positive emotions.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, a lot of athletes talk about the importance of visualization, right?
Mm.
Picturing themselves succeeding. And that ties into the whole why behind the what, which the article talks about too.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. We've all seen those videos of athletes in the weight room, right?
Totally. Those are everywhere.
But what about those drills that target a specific weakness? Or those tedious rehab exercises after an injury?
Okay. Yeah, we don't see those as much.
Exactly. But showing those things and explaining the why, the reasoning behind it.
It gives it context.
Exactly. And it shows that it's not just about mindless training. There's a strategy behind every move.
It's like taking you inside their training regimen, you know? You get to see the thought process.
Precisely. And let's not forget about the importance of showing the support system.
That's so true, because no athlete gets to the top alone. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The coaches, the trainers, the family, the teammates,
Yeah.
they all play a role.
It takes a village, as they say.
Exactly. And I think showing that really underscores the idea that success is a team effort.
And that's something we can all apply to our own lives.
100%.
Yeah.
Because we all need support to achieve our goals.
It's all about finding those people who believe in you.
Absolutely. And that's what I love about this whole concept of sharing the process, you know.
What do you mean?
It's not just about giving fans a glimpse behind the curtain. It's about providing a framework for success that can be applied to any field.
Because those qualities, the dedication, the discipline, the resilience, those are universal, right?
Exactly. They're not limited to sports.
It doesn't matter if you're an athlete, a musician, an entrepreneur.
It's about setting goals, putting in the work, and never giving up on your dreams.
And embracing the journey, even when it's tough.
Absolutely. Because it's the challenges that make the victories so much sweeter, right?
Couldn't agree more. And you know, another thing that really struck me in the article,
Anytime.
they talked about how when fans really connect with an athlete's journey,
Yeah.
when they see the effort, the sacrifices, it actually elevates their brand even further.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it builds trust.
Totally. It's like, this person is for real.
Exactly. And in a world where everyone's trying to sell you something, that authenticity is everything.
It's about being relatable, being vulnerable even.
And it's about connecting with fans on a human level.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, we all have a story to tell.
We do.
We all have a process that we go through to achieve our goals.
And those stories, they have the power to inspire.
Absolutely. So as we wrap things up today, what are some key takeaways our listeners should be talking about?
Well, I'd say the biggest one is this. Success is a process. It's about consistency, hard work, and never giving up on your dream.
And it's about embracing the journey with all its ups and downs.
Exactly. Celebrate the victories, learn from the setbacks, and never stop growing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And you know, on that note, it makes you wonder,
What's that?
if you were an athlete, what part of your process would you share with the world?
That is a great question. Something to think about, right?
Oh, it really is. Because we all have a story to tell, a journey that can inspire others.
We do.
And on that note, that's a wrap on today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.